Land preservation and effective sustainable restoration is crucial for future generations.
Our goal as a global organization is actually to regenerate 1 billion hectares of land. When you look at a solution like that, why can't we scale something like that?
Graham Strong is Chief Impact Officer for World Vision. Mr. Strong, please tell us about World Vision.
So World Vision is a global humanitarian development organization that puts children at the heart of our mission. So we believe that every child should experience life in all its fullness. We operate in about 100 countries around the world, and we focus in on development programming that really makes a significant positive change in the life of children.
Given the topics of COP16, it's not immediately obvious what your role is here, so please explain.
Well, I mean, we're here really to advocate on behalf of child well-being. And if you think about it from an environmental perspective, future generations of children are going to really need to depend on the health of the planet. And so it's our responsibility as a global organization to work towards caring for the planet through nature-based solutions like farmer-managed natural regeneration, which really transforms landscapes in a positive way that really has an impact on child well-being.
Do you have any examples you could give?
So I was recently in Somalia, where I visited a project that was funded by the Australian government back in 2017. And that project worked with women through a Cash for Work program to put in water retention, to start pruning trees, to protect a certain area of land that allowed for that, what we call the underground forest, to actually regenerate and then start to be able to produce livelihoods for that community. It was one of the communities that I went into that weren't looking for humanitarian assistance because they had a sustainable solution within their community that allowed them to be resilient to the drought that other communities were facing that I visited during my time there.
You talk about communities. When we are addressing these issues, we tend to focus from it very globally.
Yes.
Do you think the solution should be more towards working with communities and seeing what their needs are and how to help them?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the solutions that are out there are within that local knowledge, and so it's actually how do you work with understanding the context of where communities are at within their development, and also the solutions that they think will make a positive difference in their lives, right? So, there's a lot of indigenous local solutions that if you neglect that, you're not going to be able to transform those communities in a positive way. And you have to actually put them in the driver's seat of their own development in order to have what we really want to do is have a credible impact in that community and in the lives of children that live within that community.
If you had to name an obstacle to doing more, would you say it's financing or something else?
So many times, I guess it's frustrating at times when you look at a solution like that, the simplicity of that solution, and you go, why can't we scale something like that, right? Yes, financing is part of that problem, right? But we've got to be able to say, what are the solutions that we know that work? Yes, they have to be contextually appropriate and probably contextualized within different communities around the world, because you're never going to find a silver bullet that solves all the problems, right? So it's about contextualization of these solutions that we know can work within community because they originate from communities, right? But the issue is then how do you get that to scale? And financing is a critical piece to that. So that's part of why we're here, is to try to raise awareness around some of these solutions that we know have a positive impact, and then really try to find ways to finance that so that we can get them to scale. Because our goal as a global organization is actually to regenerate 1 billion hectares of land. Yeah.
Tell us more about it.
All right. So this, so as a global partnership, we've decided that children are a focus of ours, that we have set out an ambitious target to regenerate 1 billion hectares, right? So, the principal solution that we're going to use is what we call farmer-managed natural regeneration. There's other tools in our toolkit as well, but we see that as the flagship signature product that's going to really be able to help us get to that level. of hitting 1 billion. We also have to, we realize that we're not going to be able to do it on our own. We're going to have to partner with others who share a similar vision, a shared vision around, the importance of regeneration, but the importance connected to the well-being of children. We're here to actually secure the future generations to come and the planet that they're going to inherit from us.
Is there room for optimism? Because there is there are many worrying signs.
Yeah, yeah.
But where do you see room for optimism?
I'm an optimistic person. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of room for optimism because I think there's a lot of solutions out there. It's not that we're not aware of what the solutions can and should be. It's that we've got evidence-based solutions that we know have a positive impact on humanity. It's then just how do you actually pull together and turn that into action in terms of putting in the right resources at the right time to really grow them to scale, to get them to scale. So I would say my optimism is based on the fact that we know we have evidence-based solutions. Where I'm kind of concerned and frustrated is how do you actually then turn the resources around to say, how do we prioritize solving root causes rather than treating symptoms, in terms of what we've been trying to do, address in kind of your humanitarian responses and a shift towards longer term programming that actually make a difference for people and children.
In the next decade, what are some of the objectives you're hoping to achieve?
Well, I mean, our focus is really to see that 1 billion hectares start to move towards being achieved, right? We know as World Vision, over the last 20 years, we've regenerated 18 million hectares. So we know it can be done, right? So really wanting to see that move forward. And ultimately, what we want to see is, we impact around 300 million children around the world, right? We want to see that continue to grow, right? Because we're here to really see life in all its fullness for every child as an organization. And we believe that in our DNA, that's what we were set up to do. And we wake up every day trying to figure out how to do that.
In which part of the world have you had most success so far?
I would say, it depends on the type of programming that you're doing.
In the 1 billion?
In the 1 billion hectares, West Africa is where we started in Niger. But we also have an incredible program in Ethiopia as well that's really evidence-based. That one has actually turned into a carbon program where actually the resources from the sale of those credits are going back into community development programming, and that is all driven by community themselves. It's not driven by World Vision. And so we're seeing more and more success in this area. So very proud of what we've been able to achieve over the few years.
And is technology playing a significant role in helping you?
Well, technology plays a critical role in providing the evidence of impact, right? That credible change, right? So you're going to have to find ways to evidence-base the density of the regeneration that happens within landscape, because that's what people want to know. Investors want to know, has something changed, right? So being able to use technology to verify that is going to be a critical part of how we engage with technology to do that.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.